Welcome, everyone. My name is Lisa Lunghofer. I'm the Executive Director of the Grey-Muzzled organization, and I'm so excited that you're here with us today for our webinar on Reiki and senior animals. So before we start, I just want to introduce my colleagues. Amanda, you want to say hey?
Hi, I'm Amanda. I'm grey-muzzled's administrator.
And Laura?
I'm Laura. I am grey-muzzled's communication and impact manager.
So before I introduce Beth Shemo, our presenter, I just wanted to do a little housekeeping. We will have time for questions at the end, so please feel free to type your questions into the Q&A box if you're joining us on Zoom. If you're joining us on Facebook, we'll be monitoring those questions, so just type your questions into the comment section. All right, so Beth Shemo is an advanced proficiency healing touch for animals practitioner and Reiki master practitioner. Her exploration into energy medicine began with Reiki in 1997, and she received Reiki master certification in 1999. When a health issue developed in one of her dogs, Beth sought out holistic options and found a wonderful holistic veterinarian who restored her dog's health and vitality. Beth was fortunate to work with this vet for several years as a veterinary assistant and healing touch for animals practitioner, where she furthered her training in healing touch for animals, healing touch, color therapy, aromatherapy, and craniosacral therapy for animals. In her private practice, Spirit Wolf Energetics, Beth's mission is to improve the health and vitality of animals, both domestic and wild, through the use of safe and gentle energy medicine techniques. She also enjoys providing complimentary healing sessions for the amazing animals at the Colorado Wolf and Wildlife Center and Teller County Regional Animal Shelter. So we are thrilled to have Beth with us today, and I'm really excited to learn more about this topic, and I hope all of you are as well. So we look forward to your presentation, Beth, and we look forward to hearing questions from our audience. I'll turn the floor over to you.
Okay, thank you, ladies. Welcome, everyone, and thank you for being here. Today, we'll talk about Reiki for our senior animal friends. And before we start into that, I just wanted to introduce you to a few of the animals who have helped me along my journey into Reiki and energy medicine. Cheyenne in the upper left corner is she was an amazing dog. She was a constant beacon of joy and an enthusiastic puppy until the last month of her life. She never grew up. She was always a puppy. It was Cheyenne's allergies and skin issues that led me to Dr. Pamela Fisher, a holistic veterinarian in Ohio, and the one who I was blessed to work with for several years. Reiki and other holistic therapies were very helpful for her and greatly improved her quality of life. When she was diagnosed with cancer at 12 and a half years old, it was regular Reiki sessions that helped ease her pain, kept her appetite normal for as long as possible, and supported her up until the very end, where Reiki provided a peaceful transition for her. The dog in the upper left picture is Roscoe. He was my soulmate dog. He was found half starved in the country, and we were able to adopt him from his rescuer. I used Reiki to help him adapt to life in our home, to ease his intense fear of thunderstorms. He would find the deepest corner to go into and would shake like a leaf and pant like crazy. And after a year of Reiki, I mean, just continuous Reiki with him, it got to the point where he would still find a place to hide, and that's okay because that's being safe, but he would be able to, he wouldn't shake, he wouldn't pant, he would just find a safe place and go there and be calm and peaceful, which was a huge improvement. I also used Reiki. He had gastric torsion, had bloat, and we the whole trip to the emergency vet. I was doing Reiki on him, and then I used Reiki to help him recover from the surgery afterwards. It was a really scary event for us. The last few years of his life, I was able to use Reiki sessions to help ease his pain from arthritis and provide comfort and peace in his final days. Cece in the lower left corner was a part feral stray that started hanging around our home. And we would put a box out there, little house for her to stay in. We didn't know where she came from. We didn't know her story, but we thought she would be a good outdoor cat until one Christmas morning, I went out to say hello to her and she was having trouble breathing. Took her to the emergency vet, and she ended up becoming the 4th cat in our home. So she taught me the benefit of offering Reiki at a distance, especially for animals who are shy, stressed, rescue animals in particular. She helped me to learn that. She did not want hands-on Reiki in the beginning. In fact, it was nearly a year of using Reiki at a distance before she got comfortable enough that she would jump up into my lap whenever she wanted to receive Reiki, and actually enjoyed sitting in the room, in my Reiki room when I would work on human clients. She would be in there a lot of times as well. The lower right picture is Kiara. Kiara is the first wolf at the Colorado Wolf and Wildlife Center who asked for Reiki from me. One day I was pen cleaning and she walked up, looked me in the eyes, placed her chest in my hand, and the energy started to flow. So she was one of the wolves that has gotten regular Reiki treatments. This picture is actually her very last Reiki session that she had before she crossed over. And she is now, actually all of these animals are now over the Rainbow Bridge. But I'm so incredibly thankful for the time that we had together and everything that they taught me. So some of the things we'll cover today, first of all, what is Reiki and how is it learned? Also, how it works. I'll cover just a little bit of energy system basics. And then we'll look at the difference between a Reiki session for people versus a Reiki session for animals. I'll also talk about signs of relaxation and distance sessions. I'll also cover, sorry about that. I'll also cover how Reiki can help animals, especially our grey-muzzled friends. And I do have a few suggestions for ways that you can help your own animals, even if you're not a Reiki practitioner. So what is Reiki exactly? Reiki, modern Reiki, was discovered in Japan, which is why you see the kanji characters on the left-hand side of the screen. The top kanji character refers to Rei. Rei is the higher intelligence that guides the creation and functioning of the universe. The lower kanji character is Ki. Ki refers to the life force energy that flows through, animates, and connects all living things. This energy nourishes the organs and cells of the body, supporting them in their vital functions. So Reiki can be defined as spiritually guided or universal life force energy. Reiki is a Japanese spiritual practice based in meditation to encourage the practitioner to live and act in a way that promotes peace and harmony with others. And you can see each of those Reiki precepts that are listed here are dealing with things that make us anxious, that disrupt our peace and our harmony, which is being angry, worrying, not being grateful, doing work honestly, and being kind to all living things. These are the precepts that are focused on and applied to everyday life in order to achieve the goal of being peaceful and living in harmony with others. And this empowers the practitioner to take responsibility, not only for his or her own self-care, but also his or her own life to make it the best that you can be. Reiki is also an energy healing system for stress reduction and deep relaxation to promote healing. It balances and harmonizes all aspects of a being, body, mind, emotions, and spirit. It is a natural healing art that accelerates the body's innate ability to heal from physical ailments, and it opens the mind to the root causes of health issues and pain. Reiki is one part of the emerging field of biofield energy, medicine, and numerous studies on the effectiveness of Reiki have resulted in many hospitals, cancer centers, and other medical facilities across the country offering it as part of patient services. And now even quite a few holistic and integrative veterinarians are also offering Reiki for their animal patients. The American Holistic Veterinary Medical Association lists 128 veterinarians in the US and Canada who now offer Reiki as a service. Keep in mind that although Reiki is it beautifully complements other types of medical and therapeutic treatments, it is not a substitute for traditional medical or veterinary care. There are currently more than 30 different types of Reiki being practiced in the West, but most schools acknowledge Dr. Mikao Usui, pictured here, as the founder of modern Reiki. At the end of the 19th century, Dr. Usui, who was a Japanese Buddhist priest, discovered a way of accessing and using healing energy. He also discovered a way of passing this ability on to others. Reiki has been taught and used in the West since the 1930s. And I want to point out that anyone can learn Reiki. It is not dependent on intellectual ability or spiritual development. All that is needed is an open mind, a compassionate heart, and clear intention. One becomes a Reiki practitioner by training with a Reiki master and being attuned to Reiki energy. This is a special, the classes are normally held over a weekend, and the attunement process is a very spiritual ritual that is gone through to open up the energy, open up the practitioner, the student to this Reiki energy. There are actually 3 levels of Reiki training. Level 1 enables the student to transmit Reiki energy, and level 2 allows the practitioner to do that at a distance. And level 3 is reserved for those who wish to teach Reiki to other students. While a practitioner can send Reiki to any living thing, so it could be plants, animals, or humans, it was Elizabeth Fulton and Kathleen Prasad who introduced Reiki as the viable healing modality specifically for animals. They published a book in 2006 called Animal Reiki. And Kathleen has created a different approach to energy healing for animals. It's called Let Animals Lead. And it empowers the animals and respects the animals' comfort and wishes during an energy session. It also is a gentle path to help humans and animals live together with more balance and peace and happiness. So how many of you have ever walked up to a stranger and you immediately felt uneasy and wanted to just get away? Or maybe you walked up to someone you didn't know but felt like, wow, I really know this, felt like I know this person forever and I just met them. Or maybe you're walking down the street, you've walked down the street 100 times and all of a sudden you just feel like a little uneasy. So this is actually your energy system making you aware of your environment and other beings around you. Now, the whole topic of energy anatomy could be a whole webinar in and of itself. So I'm just going to cover briefly a few things here. First of all, a lot of this is what is being studied by quantum physicists. And all matter is made of energy, and every being is connected at this energetic level. Our physical bodies, our thoughts, emotions, and spiritual intention all vibrate at their own frequencies, creating an electromagnetic field that surrounds and supports the body. This is also called the aura. And I'm going to continue throughout this slide to call it the aura, but it is the energy field that surrounds our bodies. Everything that enters and leaves the body, and this can be words, actions, or intentions, it passes through the aura. The aura collects the data of our life experiences and stores it. So if we have past trauma, if we have disease or injury, this can cause congestion within the aura. And by clearing this congestion out, it assists the body in the healing process. The aura adapts to the person or the animal's environment. So if you're in an environment that is loving and joyful, your aura actually expands. It contracts with illness, injury, or trauma, or fear, or stress. In those cases, the aura actually contracts, and this creates a lack of movement and energy flow within the aura. So the human aura extends about 4 to 6 feet beyond the physical body. An animal's aura, however, is 10 times larger or more than the human aura. Animals use the edge of the aura to sense what is around them. They sense whether it's something that's good for them or not. And if it's something that's not good for them, then they can determine, do I need to fight or flee? Or am I going to freeze here? Chakras are energy centers throughout the body that regulate the flow of energy between the physical body and the aura. And each chakra is responsible for a specific area of the body and the organs, glands, nerves, and body systems associated with it. Now, in this illustration, it's showing the 7 major chakras. We do have smaller energy points known as bud chakras that deal with the sensory systems of the animal. And minor chakras are found in the paws. You can see hopefully you can see the little pink dots on each of the paws. They do have chakras in their paws, and at every joint and organ in the body. Chakras are, it's a Sanskrit word meaning spinning wheel or vortex, and actually looks like a cone. This illustration is going to show, you can see the red chakra. This is the root. The red dot is the root chakra. It's at the base of the tail. Further up on the body, between the hips, over the spine, is the sacral chakra. The middle of the back and the bottom of the rib cage, that represents the solar plexus chakra, and that's in the yellow dot. The green dots, that's the heart chakra. It's the middle of the sternum and the center of the pectoral muscles. The throat chakra is represented by the sky blue color, and that is in front of the withers and at the junction of C6 and C7 along the spine. The brow is the middle of the forehead above the eyes, and then the crown chakra is purple, and that is the center of the occipital ridge at the base of the skull. Animals have the same, most of the same chakras as we do. The place, how it's accessed is a little different because they're on, have 4 paws on the ground. So they're not upright, 2-legged like we are. So we just access those a little bit differently. The chakras are connected to organs and body systems through meridians, which are energy pathways. And then the energy flowing through the meridians affects the entire physical body, including the circulatory, lymphatic, muscular, and nervous systems. So basically, when an energy system is open and flowing, the body is supported for optimum health, and the physiological responses of the body work appropriately. When an energy system is blocked or compromised, the body is more likely to exhibit physical, mental, and emotional distress. So in my work, a lot of the animals that I have seen and done Reiki sessions for, what is most commonly compromised as far as the chakras go, it's the lower 3 chakras, the root, sacral, and solar plexus. So just an example, say an animal's root chakra has become compromised and is out of balance. The root chakra has to do with grounding us to the earth. It has to do with security, trust, and courage. It has to do with survival instincts. So if this chakra is out of balance, you might notice that your animal is maybe insecure, very fearful, maybe is not trusting, or is very restless. Over time, if this chakra remains out of balance, it may show up in the physical body as arthritis, musculoskeletal issues, constipation, or sluggishness. The sacral chakra has to do with procreation, assimilation of food, physical life force, and vitality, and that's represented by the orange dots. If this chakra is out of balance, some things you may notice at first are maybe your dog is excessively whining for no reason. Maybe a cat doesn't know boundary issues, has some boundary issues. Maybe there's lack of confidence or possessive behavior. Over time, if this chakra remains out of balance, it may show up in the physical body as hormonal imbalance, weakness, low energy, back pain, or elimination issues. So you can see that the energy and how it's flowing or not flowing does affect our health and vitality. So how does Reiki work? When I am doing a Reiki session, I am not using my own energy. I am accessing universal life force energy. So I am serving as a clear and open channel or a conduit for that energy to flow through. It's flowing through me and to the recipient. Through intention, this energy is coming into my energy field, and then it comes out my hands into the energy field of the recipient. We do have chakras in our hands, and that enables our hands to feel, send, and receive energy. Reiki is intelligent and intuitive. It seeks out energetic imbalances in the body, mind, and spirit, and provides healing through the energetic pathways of the body. What I love about Reiki is it goes where it's needed most for the highest good of the recipient. I don't have to know what's going on with an individual. I don't have to know what's going on with a dog or a cat or a horse. I'm just going to send the Reiki energy, and it's going to go where it's needed for the highest good of that animal. So if you look at this from a physiological perspective, when a person or an animal is undergoing a Reiki session, as the energy field is cleared and balanced, the aura around the body, that energy field around us, ends up expanding, which creates more space for pain to dissipate. So it's really good for pain relief. And then as the body relaxes, it releases endorphins, allowing muscles to relax. Relaxed muscles allow more space around the muscle tissue, and this increases circulation and improves blood flow. Increased blood flow, of course, elevates oxygen levels and allows nutrients and other natural chemicals like hormones and enzymes to be absorbed more efficiently. Toxins are released and healthy cells regenerate, which promotes healing. So when the physiology of a body is stable, then the immune system is regulated, and this affects the physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual aspects of the energy field, which supports self-healing. So why Reiki for animals? First of all, because they deserve it. Look at everything that our animals provide for us. The unconditional love they give us is priceless. So animals are acutely sensitive to energy, and they often pick up the energy in their environment and the energy of the humans that care for them. Most of them enjoy and respond beautifully to Reiki. Reiki is gentle, non-invasive, painless, and stress-free. It can be administered with a light touch about the weight of a nickel or hands off at a distance. Reiki can be adapted to any problem an animal may face. The animal guides the session, and the animal takes in as much or as little Reiki as they're comfortable with. So with an open heart and clear intention, Reiki can do no harm. And it's a great way of meditating with your animals. It's a great way to connect heart to heart and deepen that human-animal bond. And finally, healing any creature heals us all, because we are all connected through energy, and we are all one. We're all part of the universal life force energy. I've personally used Reiki for domestic animals like dogs, cats, birds, guinea pigs, even peacocks. But I especially enjoy animals with using Reiki with wild animals. In the yard, I find birds that hit the window, deer, prairie dogs, chipmunks, and foxes. And at the Colorado Wolf and Wildlife Center, where I volunteer, I've worked with foxes, coyotes, New Guinea singing dogs, and of course, my favorite animal, the wolf. This slide illustrates the difference between a human session versus an animal session. Now, for the human session on the right, you can see the client is laying on a massage table, fully clothed. She looks pretty comfortable. The practitioner uses a series of hand positions with the hands placed gently on the client. Again, just the weight of a nickel, very soft touch, or just above the body, as you see in this picture. There is no pressure, no massage, no manipulation. The client becomes relaxed and experiences the energy flow as warmth or coolness. I've felt tingling or like a pulsating feeling. And this is all sensation from energy flow. The human session typically lasts about an hour, and the client does become very relaxed and peaceful, and many will fall into a deep sleep. Now, the picture on the left, this is an animal Reiki session with a fearful dog at my local shelter. I usually, with animals, it's kind of hard to get them to lay on a massage table for an hour. So I usually sit on the floor with the animal, and they have freedom to move. I don't make them stay in one spot in particular. Reiki is offered at a distance. As you can see, I'm further away from this animal as far as I could be in this kennel. And it's the animal's choice. They can accept Reiki at a distance like that, or they can come up and settle themselves against my hands. As I mentioned, the animal's free to move around. Some actually will come up and present the area that needs attention. And I'll point that out in the next slide. So a session for an animal at the shelter around up to 30 minutes, but animal sessions, if it's the first one, it's usually a little bit longer, but roughly about 30 to 60 minutes for an animal session. Many animals fall into a deep, relaxed sleep. Not all of them do, but some. And they usually signal they're done with the session by just walking away. This dog in particular was very fearful, pacing at the far end of the kennel when I first started the session. But she is eventually settled down. You can see she's laying on her bed. She's a little more relaxed, and she actually closed her eyes, and I don't know that she went to sleep, but her eyes were closed and she was relaxed for a brief period of time. And in a busy shelter with a lot of distractions, that was pretty amazing. Whether the recipient is a human or an animal, permission is required. So if an animal doesn't want Reiki, as the Reiki starts to flow, he may walk away, he may move away from my hands. I've had some even vocalize to get my attention to say, hey, I don't like this, I don't want this. It's rare that they don't, but the first time, if they've never felt that energy flow, it can seem a bit strange to them. So I just go by what the animal wants. Reiki can be practiced with the recipient in the room in both of these cases, or at a distance, even another geographical area. This is ideal for animals that don't live in the same area as I do, but it's also good for animals who don't want direct contact. Maybe that animal's really aggressive due to past trauma, and it's safer to do it at a distance, or it could be an animal that's just too stressed or fearful, and going at a distance is much better. So for distance sessions, I usually use a stuffed animal as a surrogate, and that just keeps me focused on different areas of the body. But the intention is that energy is going to the animal that I am working on, even though they're not present in the room. Another way that this is helpful is in end-of-life sessions. So if an animal is near the end of life and I can't physically get there in time to do a Reiki session, I can do it at a distance from my home and provide that animal with a little bit of peace before they make their transition. So these pictures illustrate a session that I had with a horse named Sundance. This was a while ago. In the upper left picture, I've just approached and I'm calm and relaxed. I've asked permission and I've allowed Reiki to softly flow. My only intention is highest good healing for this animal. In the upper right picture, Sundance has actually moved a little bit closer, and I followed his lead and allowed Reiki to flow to the area he presented to me, which was his shoulder area. He was having issues with one of his front legs. So it made sense that this was the area that he would present to me. And then the bottom picture, he's moved more deeply into my hands and has achieved a state of deep relaxation. One of the things I look for when I'm doing a session, I always look for signs of relaxation. And this can vary from animal to animal. And I'll just briefly cover some of them. So for horses, horses will sometimes lick and chew. Their heads tend to drop parallel with their back. They can shift weight off of one foot or another. Their eyes and lips may soften. Sometimes they hear stomach gurgles, and sometimes there is intestinal gas release. And a lot of times I can see a deep breath or a deep sigh. And these are typically emotional releases. So something a little more deep that's releasing. For the mini burro I'm working on in the upper left photo, his name is Burrito. He's adorable. He's at the Colorado Wolf and Wildlife Center. So for cats, they're a little different. Mostly they settle down. Sometimes they'll purr. Their faces do soften, especially their eyes. They can do the deep breath or the sigh if there's an emotional release. And a lot of times they'll give me a big stretch at the end of the session. Now, this little kitty that you see, this is my Henry that is no longer with me, but he enjoyed Reiki so much. You can see he's in a deep sleep right now. He has experienced Reiki since the day I found him when he was just a few weeks old. So he had almost 16 years of Reiki sessions on a regular basis. For dogs, whoops, I'm sorry. For dogs, it's a little bit different. They settle down. If they start out pacing or panting, they'll stop panting. They might sit or lay down. Their head lowers, eyes softened, and in this case, both of them the eyes are closed. Sometimes I'll hear stomach gurgles, or there will be intestinal gas releases. Dogs will sometimes wag their tails. And again, they can have that deep breath, that deep sigh as an emotional release. The upper right picture is one of my favorite dogs. His name is Colonel. And the lower right is Kikoa from the Colorado Wolf and Wildlife Center. And he is an amazing ambassador for wolves everywhere. So benefits of animal Reiki. These are in general, different ways that Reiki can help for any animal of any age. First of all, Reiki can maintain health and well-being of the whole animal. And when I talk about the whole animal, I'm talking about all levels. So physical, mental, emotional, and for animals, it's instinctual. I like when my clients are aware of this and will provide regular Reiki sessions for their animals to keep kind of like a tune-up once a year or every 6 months, just to keep everything flowing, make sure everything's balanced and that their animals are at their highest state of well-being. Reiki can also, it induces deep relaxation and stress relief. Probably the most relaxed I have ever been in my lifetime is during a Reiki session. And I remember the first time I did a Reiki session for my mother, and she was so deeply relaxed that I had a hard time waking her back up again. It was a little scary, but she was fine. She was so relaxed and really enjoyed it up until her last days as well. Reiki can support animals through emotional trauma, grief, and abuse. I had a dog that his people mentioned that he had lost his mate, his female companion who was alpha over him. And so not only did he lose his best friend, but he lost his leader. And so he seemed depressed. He was not playing. He was hiding in the basement. They go for hikes and he would just kind of plod along. He wasn't very energetic or affectionate. And so we did a Reiki session and they noticed a difference with the first session, but it was after the second session that he really got back to normal and he was his energetic self and wanting to go for hikes again and is doing really well. Reiki can also improve behavioral issues and strengthen that human-animal bond that's so important. Reiki helps to balance and relax an animal. So before vet visits or before surgery, it's really helpful for that. And then after an illness or injury or surgery, it does help with healing, eases pain and inflammation. It helps with the healing process. Reiki can also lessen side effects from medical treatments. It does support the immune system, and it does provide a more peaceful transition at end of life, helping animals to relax enough to let go. So specifically for our senior pets, our older animals can suffer with chronic issues like arthritis, digestive issues, just general aches and pains from old age. And this causes physical discomfort. So how Reiki can help is by balancing the energy fields of the body to support their whole being. But it also provides a deep relaxation, again, expanding that aura field so the pain has more space to dissipate. So it does relieve pain. It provides comfort and supports the self-healing that our bodies can do. Our animals can also slow down and get confused as they age, and fear and anxiety can also increase. My little cat, Henry, we don't know if it was a brain tumor or maybe a stroke that he had, but he just would wander all over the house like he was in a stupor. He would get caught in corners and not know to back out. So the whole 6 weeks that we were in lockdown with COVID, I was taking care of Henry through the last 6 weeks of his life. It was 24/7 care. We did a lot of Reiki. And the only time he really slept and relaxed is when I was holding him and doing Reiki on him. So the benefit for that kind of situation, research has shown that cortisol, which is the stress hormone, is decreased during a Reiki treatment, and it does have cumulative effects over time. Reiki also provides that deep sense of peace and improved mental focus, and it can release pent-up emotions and stress. Again, that heavy sigh, that deep sigh that some animals will do during a Reiki session. This is release of stress and pent up emotions. Our gray-muzzled friends can sometimes become finicky eaters or lose their appetites completely. This could be from maybe boredom from eating the same food, or it could be side effects from medication, from chronic pain or digestive issues. So getting creative with the food options can help improve the appetite. I've done that with some of my animals. Find a food. I end up with 12 cans of the same food, or all these different options, but it's important to find that one food they're going to actually eat. But Reiki can also help with this by it helps to improve the appetite by balancing the areas of the body that are associated with digestion. And it also eases discomfort. So the energy centers that are supporting the digestive system and the processing and assimilating of nutrients, that's the lower 3 chakras. That's your root, sacral, and solar plexus chakras. So if we can get those balanced and flowing at their optimum level, then it can help with this. There was an older dog that I worked with several years ago. He had stopped eating no matter what. They had a variety of foods they were giving this poor dog. And so I went over, we did a Reiki session. He relaxed. And then about an hour or two later, one of the owners called and said, about it, after you left, it was maybe like 10-15 minutes, and he went over to his food bowl and ate every morsel. So that was pretty incredible. Hearing and sight loss. This is a common issue with older animals. And I think it's the loss of purpose, the frustration, and the feelings of isolation that accompany this that are the most difficult for animals to get through. It can be so frustrating. You have to consider it could be more challenging for them to play if they can't see or hear, if they're used to protecting, if they feel like that's their job to protect the family, if they can't see what's out there, they can't hear what's out there, that can be frustrating to them as well. And even just communicating with one another, it's much more difficult. But animals can still sense our energy, even if they can't see, even if they can't hear, they can still sense our energy. They can still sense our open, compassionate hearts. So sharing Reiki with these animals helps them to feel more peaceful and more connected. The big C word that we dread, according to the American Veterinary Medical Association, almost half of the dogs over age 10 will develop cancer. Less information is available on cancer rates in cats, but some cancers like lymphoma are actually more common in cats than dogs. I've had 2 animals with cancer that I know for sure. Cheyenne, who was my joy dog, and I had a cat named Riley who had cancer in his mouth. And how Reiki was able to help, first of all, physical and emotional comfort during this time. It can also lessen side effects of medical treatment. So if you're doing chemo or radiation, it can help with those side effects. And it can also improve appetite. I had a cat in Tulsa, Oklahoma, who had cancer and was able to do distance sessions for the last month or 2 of this cat's life. And the owner did say that the cat appeared more calm and playful for a longer period of time. The appetite was improved because the cat wasn't eating very much, but got back to eating on a regular basis and didn't seem to be in as much pain. And then, of course, anyone who loves animals and invites them into our homes, the end of life, it's the most difficult aspect of sharing your life with an animal. All 8 of my animals that I've had in my adult life, I've had 2 cats, 2 dogs and 6 cats. And they've all received Reiki on a regular basis, especially through the end of life. So when you get to that hospice situation, when you're nearing the end, Reiki can ease the physical and emotional discomfort during that time. And then when it is time for them to make that transition, whether you've decided that it's time or they're deciding it's time, You can ease their transition by offering peace, relaxation, and grounding. And it does help them to more easily slip away. So you might be asking, well, that's all well and good, but what can I do to help? And so these are just a few suggestions I have based on my experience at the Holistic Vet Office and from my practice. The first thing I would recommend that you do is to take care of yourself. Physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. Take care of yourself and your energy. Because as I mentioned, animals can pick up on our energy and our stress. So it's much better to have energy that's calm and loving as much as possible. And life happens. It's not possible to experience that 100% of the time, but as much as possible, if we can be calm and relaxed, that they're going to pick up on that, and they're going to be relaxed too. Your home is your sanctuary. So keeping your home as calm and quiet as possible, even just for part of the day, can be really helpful for our senior animals. You could also create a safe haven within your home where your pet can get away and know that they'll be at peace and not be disturbed. This can be a crate in another room away from the activity of the rest of the home, or they can have their own special room with their own special bed and their favorite toys, just a place where they can go and chill out and just relax. If you meditate, you can welcome your animal friends into your session. It provides a really relaxing bonding experience. I've been doing meditation for 3 years now, and my 2 kittens that I have right now, they just turned a year old, and they love when I meditate. They'll come in and hang out with me. Sometimes it's a little distracting, but it's worth it to have them in there with me. Another thing you can do is consider playing classical or spa type music at a low volume. Again, animals can usually hear much better than we can. And even if your animal has lost hearing, it's still the vibration of the music that's going through the air, and they can pick up on that. So you can put it on a low volume. If you're not one to listen to spa music or classical music, put it at a low volume to where you can barely hear it at least part of the day or the night. And that helps to calm them, relax them. And some of this music is actually healing. So it's really good to play that kind of music for your pets. You could also schedule a Reiki session for you and your pet, so you can both be calm and relaxed. And I just want to stress, even if you aren't a Reiki practitioner, your touch is still comforting and soothing to your pet. So if you ground and center yourself, set your intention that you want your pet to feel better, feel the best that he or she can be. You want them to be calm. You want them to be in a state of relaxation. Remember, your hands, there are chakras here. So you can send energy. It's not Reiki energy, but you can access that universal life force energy that's out there that we're swimming in. So you want to make sure, if you want to try this with your pet, that your hands are fingers pressed together, hands flat. And then you can put that on, if your animal's sitting or standing, you can put one hand on either side. So I would focus on maybe the hip area, one hand on either side of the hip. You could do the midsection, one hand on either side there, one hand on either side of the shoulders, get those shoulders as well. If they're laying down, you would just do 2 hands on one side. And you just set the intention that you want your animal to feel good. You could also place one hand at the base of the neck and one hand on the chest. And just being in this relaxed and peaceful state with your pets can help them to feel that same relaxation and peacefulness that you're experiencing. So that's really all I have today. If there's any questions, I would be very happy to answer any questions you may have. And I really appreciate your time today. If you happen to think of any questions later, please feel free to contact me and I would be happy to help. So thank you.
Terrific. Thank you so much, Beth. That was really informative. I learned a lot. I'm not seeing any questions in our Zoom question box nor on Facebook. Let me just check again. No. But I do really appreciate that you, oops, sorry, that you have given us your contact information so that people can reach out to you if they do have questions that arise. Oh, maybe there's one question. Can you again mention the book and author for the Animal Reiki book?
Yes, it's called Animal Reiki. And the author is Kathleen Prasad and Elizabeth Fulton.
Great, thanks so much.
It's a really good book.
All right, well, I don't see any more questions. So thank you so much for your time, Beth, for sharing your expertise. And thanks to all of you who joined us today. And stay tuned for more news on our next webinars. All right,
Great.
have a good afternoon, everybody. Take care.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.